This was one of those movies that just had something special written all over it right from day one.
Using the arenas of surfing, spirituality, bank robbing,
Everybody freeze!
greed, hate, murder.
Extraordinary chase scenes. Really good acting.
I didn't know better. I'd say you looked almost happy.
There's beauty and there's murder and there's money and there's sex and there's just everything.
Fantastic! I mean, we were a movie circus on wheels.
I was at the beach one day, and I had the idea that it would be really interesting to have a FBI agent that goes undercover into the world of surfing.
Rick goes, I got this idea about surfers who are robbing banks, and, wow.
The ex-presidents are surfers.
Rick King gave us an article, which was basically that Los Angeles is the bank-robbing capital of America.
Everybody freeze! Everybody move! Keep your hands up and your eyes down!
And that's really where it started. And we found a young writer who had written a really good action script by the name of Peter Iliff.
And so he got me paid $6,000, and when you're a waiter, that's a lot of money.
You're trying to tell me the FBI is going to pay me to learn to surf?
I went up and did 3 drafts as I was waiting tables, and the dream came true.
My man.
Yeah. By summer, about 4 months down the road, on the 3rd draft, the project sold to Columbia Pictures and to Ridley Scott.
Both Charlie Sheen and Johnny Depp had been up for the Keanu Reeves role. So the script had been floating around for a while. It was called Johnny Utah for a long time.
And then the picture got dropped. They lost their option on it. And it was like one of those films that went, oh, it's not happening anymore.
And after 5 months of building our sets, they tore them down in a day. And it was a very difficult day, to say the least. So 4 years passed by, and then came Jim Cameron and Kathryn Bigelow, and they saved the script, and they made it Largo's first film.
I know I was attracted to it right from the beginning because I loved the paradox that it set up. You have these two worlds in direct opposition to one another, the world of surfing juxtaposed with the sort of penal system. I mean, it's a system versus, like, the anti-system.
Kathryn was the right choice because not only from a visual standpoint, but because she came at it as a woman, so it was not overt, you know. It has some texture and some subtlety and some depth to the movie. It's just not, you know, all about adrenaline junkies.
It's not about surfers, it's not about presidents, it's not about robbing banks, it's not about the FBI, it's about one kid. This kid named Utah is finding a passage from boyhood to manhood.
The name's Johnny Utah!
Who cares?
Johnny Utah is just a great name, I think, which was drawn obviously from Joe Montana.
Johnny Utah is really an everyman. He is, of course, the person in the story through whose eyes the audience must take this ride.
Johnny Utah, you know, he is a, you know, a rebel, you know, free-spirited guy, you know, who will get the job done. And, you know, it's the way he is.
I gotta find an approach, a way in. Here we go. Both parents deceased. Airplane crash. He's not amoral. He'll do anything to win. He's basically it.
Keanu was Kathryn Bigelow's personal battle. A lot of other names were preferred by the studio and by Larry Gordon, but Kathryn Bigelow had a thing for Keanu Reeves.
Kathryn was fixated on it, and to her credit, she was the one that said, I'm going to turn him into an action star. And to his credit, he, you know, became that character.
FBI! Freeze!
Keanu was a fresh piece of clay that committed to the effort of telling his story.
You want to nail the bank robbers and be a big hero.
Definitely.
Keanu Reeves has a real sort of close to the vest, yet at the same time a very accessible quality.
With a lot of us, when you call action, we want to go get the lens and do something that'll compel the lens to come to us. And Keanu's fine with a real sense of quiet and letting the lens find him.
He's so comfortable and so kind and so at home in front of the camera and, you know, on the set, and just this is where he belongs.
Keanu and I go way back. I believe I did his first movie with him, which was a hockey movie I did in Canada called Youngblood, and he was amazing. And I thought, I bet this guy's gonna go somewhere. He just had that kind of spark in his eyes, you know? And sure enough, he has.
Ever done this before? No, but I've seen it on TV.
Keanu was at the beginning of his career. People didn't really know who this guy was, and of course, Keanu has gone on to become one of the biggest stars in Hollywood.
I am an FBI agent.
I know, man, isn't it wild? There were people that wanted me to play Johnny Utah. And when I said no to Johnny Utah, I felt Bodie was the only character I wanted to play in this movie.
You want the ultimate, you gotta be willing to pay the ultimate price.
Patrick was always the choice to play Bodie. Always. I mean, just he was perfect for the part. He was physical, he was spiritual, intellectual. I mean, you know, everything you needed. I mean, from the first day, he was Bodie.
But that was a big, big whoop, you know, that Patrick Swayze was in the movie. It was a really huge whoop.
Patrick had just come off the movie Ghost, which was an enormous hit, and he was at the height of his stardom. So he comes into this movie and he lets his hair grow long and gets that tan, and you know, his physique was in the best shape of his life. And he was just a god. I mean, he was like the man diva.
I just thought he was fantastic. It was such a demanding role physically that I wonder how many other actors could have pulled that off.
During one of the football sequences, his knee blew up. Yeah, I mean, his knee was giant, was like triple the size of a normal knee. And he would have the doctor come down and drain it at the end of the night. And he was there the next day charging. He was hardcore.
It was just so much fun to play this character because there was nothing you could do that was wrong as long as you believed it.
Bodie's a character where we tried to go really deeply inside who this guy is and why he was doing what he wants to do.
Bodie really encompasses a lot of beliefs that I have in us as people somehow taking charge of our world and our lives again.
We stand for something. To those dead souls inching along the freeways in their metal coffins, we show them that the human spirit is still alive.
Patrick's a wonderful person to work with. Anytime, any day. I'll go into combat artistically, spiritually, physically, mentally.
Get out of the way, kid! God damn it!
Busey and I, we love each other. On certain levels, we're cut from the same cloth. We're both very spontaneous beasts and get really passionate about what we're doing.
It was an honor to get shot by Gary, the masochist. I live right next door to Gary, who is a national treasure and should get anything he wants for the rest of his life just because he's such a brilliant actor. God, I wish I had some of his energy.
Busey was wild. We all loved him. We all loved to hang with him.
I love Gary, you know, but is Gary here?
Gary Busey is a very, very good actor. Sometimes he gets carried away with a little tangent.
Now, this is a Camacho, the size of a Spanish cigarrito. Cigarrito. I'd love to do a commercial at least once. That's my audition for a commercial, folks.
Gary Busey. Everybody's got a Gary Busey story.
You know, he's Gary. He's his own person.
Sex wax.
Yeah.
You're not into kinky shit, are you, Angelo?
Not yet.
Gary's not the kind of actor who only looks at his little world and what's going to make him better. He's really interested in what makes the whole film work.
Right around that corner, there is a sandwich shop. They sell meatball sandwiches. Best I've ever tasted. Would you go get me two?
Fabulously interesting choices. I mean, the meatball sandwich thing is, come on, okay, give me two. Utah, give me two.
Utah, give me two.
Pappas is kind of a bigger-than-life character. You know, he's kind of the noise to Utah's quiet, you know, and Gary's perfect for it.
Listen, you snot-nosed little shit. I was taking shrapnel and K-Sod while you were crapping in your hands and rubbing it on your face. You mad? Yeah, I'm mad.
He had just survived that terrible motorcycle accident, which was earlier in his career, and this was kind of the beginning of his comeback trail.
It feels good, doesn't it? Like you're still alive, right? Yeah!
That was one of the first movies I did after my massive brain surgery and my death. So I was fresh, too. I was fresh in several ways in that pond we call Point Break.
That is your surfing contact? Female. Blue eyes.
I know I'm not the stereotypical girlfriend in movies.
You want to commit suicide, you do it someplace else.
In the script, we had envisioned a more of a quintessential surf chick.
You know, all the people that are blonde and stars now, we saw, who are 35, we saw when they were 20. And she walked in and she just gave the best audition.
Then I got a call back, and then I got a call back, and then they said, you're gonna read with Keanu Reeves, and I was like, oh, cool, okay, you know. And it was just great. We were just like two kids, you know, just happy to be there.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting choice. That's primarily Kathryn's choice, really to go against type. Instead of the California girl, blonde, you know, and just to go with more of a physical, athletic type person.
Whose ball is it? Who works here?
I love Lori Petty because she's one of those chicks that if you think you can do it, she'll do it better.
I've always had this thought that I can do, if it can be done, I can do it.
Just paddling out in the big surf, total commitment.
You can't just call time out and stroll on into the beach if you don't like the way things are going.
The key for us is, in our group of 4, there were 2 extraordinarily good surfers, Bo Jesse Christopher and John Filden.
Putting us in the water in Hawaii and in Southern California at some of the best places and being paid to do it, you know, it was very comfortable, it was very exciting. For me, it was a perfect gig.
Fucking A! I love this fucking job.
We're getting towed in, we're getting pulled up and towed into huge waves, and they're filming